You are watching Travel World Online.
Hello, my name is Rajan Sakya. I am the current CEO of the Kathmandu Guest House. Kathmandu Guest House, the property that you are seeing right now, is one of the first hotels of Nepal. The hotel, this particular property started back in 1968. It was started by my father with 4 rooms. And at that time in 1968, we were selling our rooms for 2 rupees a night. That is how the legacy of the KGH group, the legacy of Kathmandu Guest House started. Today, Kathmandu Guest House is more of an institution than a hotel. A lot of the people all around the world know this property because we've been a big part of the initiation, the beginning of tourism in Nepal. So we have seen the tourism when Nepal tourism was only about 4,000 tourists a year. Till now, we are looking at nearly about 1.5, hopefully 2 million tourists by next year. So we have seen the whole evolution and the changes in tourism while being in this property. So Kathmandu Guest House is a hotel which I would say a lot of people think of this hotel when they hear it for the first time. They think it's a guest house, and they don't know how to identify this hotel because the meaning of guest house is something like like the hotels that you would have in Paharganj or smaller hotels that you bet people think. But when they come here, they are very amazed by what we have been doing for the past 52 years. The legacy of this hotel is not only about just having a hotel, but this is where people come and spend their dreams. So from the 70s till now, we've had some of the most amazing guests who stay with us. In the early 70s, we had people like Beatles who have stayed with us. If you look at most of the top celebrities who come to Nepal, they come and stay with us. And the amazing thing is the celebrities stay with us and their bodyguards go stay in 5-star hotels. Today, this hotel is known not only for the amazing property it is, but for the legacy that it carries. If you look at most of the mountaineers of the world have stayed here, are the regular guests here. Most of the books that was written about Nepal and about the Himalayas in the 70s, 80s, 90s, all these book writers are always a very regular guest at the Kathmandu Guest House. So I don't look at this place as a hotel. For me, it is not a hotel. Although the KGH group is the biggest hotel company, domestic hotel company here in Nepal, but Kathmandu Guest House is our flagship company. And for here, it is always about how we can make the dreams come true for people, because people from all over the world come to Nepal because this is in their bucket list. But when they come here, they have a different type of experience. There are destinations like Pashupatinath, there are destinations like Lumbini, which is a religious destination. In this destination, mass tourism is acceptable because you are catering to the mass. But when you are talking to certain destinations like the Himalayas, the expeditions, the national parks, these places are definitely being overcrowded, and unless and until the government doesn't take out these policies, they are going to ruin these destinations. Because why do people want to climb Mount Everest? Or why do people want to go to the national park? They go to the national park so they can see the wildlife. Otherwise, if they want to see the animals, they can see in the zoo. But they want to see it in wilderness. But what is happening right now is there are so many people going into the national park that people are just not seeing anything anymore. That is due to the bad policies. And also there's been a lot of issues about how the Everest region is becoming, the Annapurna region is, people are literally staying in line to summit, or people are staying like a small crowded village in the base camps. And if Nepal and if the stakeholders don't realize, and because they are looking at a very short-term vision, of how many tourists can I get this year so that I can make more money. But in the long term, what they are doing is they are spoiling and they're killing the destination. Because when people go back and they say like, oh my God, going to Mount Everest was like being in one of the streets in Kathmandu, then you lose the whole essence. So this has to be realized not only by the government, but the stakeholders, the trekking company, the rafting company, the hotels. Every one of us should be equally responsible. Because yes, the government is there to make policies, but we also have to be, the private sector, the stakeholders also have to be ethical about maintaining, sustaining the destination. And we should not be like a parasite. Only parasites will go onto the host, suck out all the blood and leave when it dies. And that is how some of us are treating this destination. And we have to understand what this destination is all about before we start selling it. And I hope the future generation of tourism entrepreneurs, hoteliers, trekking companies, travel companies, they understand that Nepal as a destination will only sustain if we can sustain the destination. Otherwise, we have nothing to leave for the next generation.
Great. Sakya, how important training is in today's world, professionals in the trade?
Training, I think, when you the word training is seems very technical, but I think in tourism it is always about yes, it's one of the most important things in because I cannot talk to 100 guests, and if I don't train my staff well, then they will not be able to convey the message that I am trying to convey to the guest. So training is the most important aspect. If you want to, it doesn't matter if it is a 5-star hotel or if it is a small hotel like ours. The essence of the owners or the essence of the management is conveyed onto the guests through trainings. So training is, if not the most important aspect of tourism business. And you had asked me that question is,
Cultural heritage.
yeah, is our cultural heritage getting encroached by external factors? It doesn't mean this Indian or Chinese or American or Western. We are living in such a world where we are losing our cultural heritage, not only because of the Indians coming to Nepal or the Chinese coming to Nepal, but on a mindset, because the kind of influences that we have through Instagram and through social media. So this is a part of evolution. It's not something that we can stop. It is also part of development, and it is also part of anti-development. And that is one of the reasons that what I'm going to say, I want to take you to another location to say it, because I want to express, because this is something very close to me. So I will take you to my museum, because this museum is trying to do exactly what you have been saying, is how can we retain, how can we sustain, how can we maintain our culture, our heritage, our art, through identifying and through retaining this aspect of what the soul of any country is, the people. And soul of the people is always through their culture and their heritage. The definition of any people, doesn't matter if it's a Nepali, if it's an Indian, if it's a Chinese, if it's American, is always represented through their art. How we run the hotel, is so for us one very important aspect is value for money. We still have rooms that start from $40 all the way to $400, and on average our room rate is between $70 to $90 for deluxe rooms. But one thing that we make sure that we do is, because people come here, they spend their hard-earned money to spend 10 days, 15 days vacation in Nepal. And for people, when they come and spend their money, we have to give them value for money. As of the location, I can charge $200, $300 a night. but that is not my intention. The intention is everybody works hard for their money. And when they are coming here to spend 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights, we should give them more than just a hotel room. We should give them experience. And this place should be, the experience that they gain in this place would be an experience that they will remember for their life. So whenever, maybe at the later age, when they think back about their trip to Nepal, this should be one of the highlights. It should be a place where they remember something very wonderful, where they met some very wonderful people, had an amazing meal, or just lying down in the garden and just, reminiscing life. So this is the kind of environment we want to create. And the environment is not only created by the hardware, which is the room, the building, the garden, but it is created and is absorbed by the software, which is the people. So even the people who work at the reception, our waiters, people who are cleaning the rooms, every aspect builds up to be a beautiful experience. And that is what we try to create here at the hotel. And I hope we can continue to do so. So actually in this hotel, I don't have a general manager, because sometimes general managers work like a 9-to-5 job. And this place is not that kind of a place. So I'm the general manager, being the owner, being the CEO of such a big company. I'm still, because this place is very close to my heart and I live here. It's not that I cannot afford to have another house where I can live. But the reason that I live here is because when I develop, even a pot of plant needs to be moved, I move it. My gardeners are not allowed to move without me asking, because I move it the way that I want it to be, because this is my home. If it's a hotel, then it is done through a certain standard. So even when they plant the trees or do certain things, because when people come to the Kathmandu guest house, it's like for me welcoming them to my house, which is a very personal space, and that is how I hope I can run it that way. And I want to also induct the same kind of values onto the future generation, which is my son. My daughter is also there, because I also learned these values from my father. And the reason that people keep on coming back, to the Kathmandu guest house is, I think, also because they feel that love, they feel that emotion. Of course, I cannot talk to all the guests who are here, but I try to replicate through my staff, and I think they do a pretty good job, because we are still revered as one of the most popular hotels, not only in Nepal but in Asia. It has been, we've been, admired through various international magazines and a lot of television channels. And it is not the magazines and the media that gives us this accolade, but we always see our guests coming back. So if the guests are coming back, what does that mean? That means they are happy with whatever I'm doing. Otherwise, why would you come back? Why would you come and spend your hard-earned money where they can go stay at the same rate in a 5-star hotel, but they come back and stay with us? That means we are doing a good job. They feel at home when they come here. I want to welcome you to what we call, this place is called the Museum of Nepali Art. This museum is located inside the Kathmandu guest house. So this is the first private museum in Nepal. And we opened this museum during COVID in 2020. And the reason that I opened this museum is, it's actually not for the foreigners. When I initially opened this museum, this was for the Nepalese people, especially for the young people. And this is the only museum in the world where this museum is dedicated to the living artist of Nepal. So all the artwork that you see here in this museum is of living artists who are still working today, who are painting today, who are creating amazing pieces of artwork. One of the reasons that I wanted to open this museum was, coming back to the point, is about sustaining, maintaining, and educating the people of Nepal, especially the younger generation, and also to represent Nepal in a different perspective. Nepal has always been known for the Himalayas, for the temples, for the culture. But Nepal was never known as the country of artists, whereas Nepalese artists were one of the first artists of the world who did complicated art like you see in the background. And all this art that is created was not to beautify an office, not to beautify a house, but all this art that was created was to pass down religion, to pass down teaching, to pass down how to have a good way of life. And the reason that I created this museum for the living artist is because I want to show to the world that, because whenever you go to a national museum, you only see artwork of 8th century, 9th century, 10th century, 15th century, 16th century, which is one of the most amazing artwork, even not only in Nepal but also in India or all over the world. But the world has forgotten to identify the living artists who are continuing the legacy of art. And artists are one of the most important people in the world. I will tell you why. Because whatever beautiful that you see in the world, doesn't matter if it is art, if it is building, even the clothes that you wear, the shoes that you wear, the watch that you wear, the sunglasses that you wear, it is all created by artists. We know how to enjoy the creation, but we never know how to appreciate an artist. So this museum is about making people realize the importance of artists and the importance that they make this world so beautiful, So the legacy of these great artists who are in Nepal, this is what this museum is created for. And I want to, so usually when people come to the museum, they come, they see the artwork, they say like, wow, what beautiful artwork they see, and all the stuff. But what I want to do with this museum is, before they leave this museum, I want to create a certain impact. And the impact to make their lives better, to start thinking positively, and also to start appreciating people for the amazing work that they do. We become, in the 21st century, we become very selfish. We only know what we want. We are only concerned about how we look. But we've started appreciating the amazing people who make this world so beautiful. So it is about all the stuff that I want to create here, and also to educate the people about how important art, culture and heritage is. As you know, there are many temples here in Kathmandu, many temples, and most of the temples are in not a very good state. The reason that it is not in a very good state is sometimes these temples don't have budgets to maintain or to retrofit or to, and the amazing thing that I see in Nepal, in India and all over the world is all these temples that we see, these holy sites that we see, was never created by government. It was always created by communities or a group of people. Then today, why are we waiting for government's budget to just even retrofit or to maintain a temple? It should be the responsibility of every individual of that community to do these things. And the reason that they don't do it is because they don't know the value. Once people know the value, then they will start doing it automatically, and then we don't need to wait for the government. Sadly, in countries like Nepal and India, we have so many other issues. The government don't have time to look into these small issues. And it should not be the government's responsibility. It should be the responsibility of every people, every citizen. Because the government doesn't go inside the temple to pray. It's the people who go inside to pray. So why? So that's why I want to educate the people, so that tomorrow the government does not dirty a temple. It's the people. People take in, go inside, they throw things and they dirty. And if tomorrow, if people start realizing that we should not do this, we should maintain these things, then what will happen is that the temples are automatically clean. You don't need to hire a cleaner to clean, because there's always the realization that these places do. So these are the stuff that we want to start creating an impact within the people, teaching the people how to live in a community, how to sustain. So these are the things that we try to do through the museum and through the expressions of artists. They understand a little better the responsibilities of being not only an individual, but responsibilities of being a citizen, not only of this country, but the citizen of this world.
You are watching Travel World Online.